Anybody can dream it, but you'll never see it until you're willing to be committed to it. When I didn't have anything, church didn't have any members, I'd get off work in a carbide, and drive up the roads and work on the church till I had to turn around and go back to work. We worked when we didn't have food. We worked when we didn't have lights. I was putting my whole check in the offering, all of it, trying to keep it going. When I finally got some staff, I went on the road preaching, and whatever I made on the road preaching, I brought it home to make the payroll of the staff. And sometimes I got them paid and couldn't pay me. Commitments, looked like a fool, didn't have any clothes, suits was falling off me, lining wore out my clothes, couldn't send them to the cleaners, had to wash my suit in the washing machine. They laughed at me, looked like an old raggedy country preacher. I had holes in my shoes. They laughed at me. They said that boy's lost his mind. He'll never be nothing. He stutters. He's got a lisp when he speaks. He'll never be a preacher. I don't care what you think. If you are committed to what you believe.
It's not going to be easy. It was hard laying on the floor of the Penobscot building, looking out of the window, daydreaming, saying, Les, can you do this? Can you make this happen? I used to listen to tapes day in and day out about see you at the top, don't let nobody steal your dream. I used to ask myself, can I do this? And something said within me, you're the one. You're the one. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. While you're here, and before you go back home to your respective cities and communities, write down at least 5 reasons on why you deserve your dream, on why you won't give up, what's going to make you unstoppable, why you must be unreasonable, because logical, practical thinking says you can't do it today. But if you want to produce unreasonable results in your life, like living your dream and taking charge of your destiny, you've got to be an unreasonable person. You've got to be an uncommon person.
Why do you want to work out? What is your goal? The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal. Because without that vision and without that goal, again, you're drifting around and you're never going to end up anywhere. People don't become successful just by accident. You know, I mean, maybe the guy that found gold in California and started the gold rush, but don't count on that. That's the one in a lifetime kind of a situation. So you got to really have a specific goal, and to me, to have that vision that I want to be Mr. Universe, that I want to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time. That was a great vision, and that specifically to look like Reg Park and to be up there on that stage and to lift the trophy overhead and to win the championship over and over and over again. So that was a great goal. You have to have a goal. Now, it doesn't have to be that specific goal, but it has to have some goal. This is why I always recommend to people, sit down, take your time, and start thinking about, why do you want to work out? What is your goal? And that can be as crazy as it is. It could be, you know, I want to impress girls. If that's your goal, so be it, but it motivates you. It could be that you're emulating a certain, you know, bodybuilder or a certain football player, a certain boxer, whatever it is. Have those pictures put all over the wall like I did when I was a kid. I put pictures of Reg Park and of Sonny Liston, of boxers and of Ali and of powerlifters and weightlifters all over my bedroom, you know, wall. So that every day when I go to sleep, every day when I wake up, I look at those pictures and they motivate me. You need that motivation, and then therefore you have this kind of imprint in front of you all the time, and you know exactly what you're chasing. people always came up to me and says, why are you smiling? You're working out 5 hours a day. You're doing the same as the other guys, but the other guys have a sour face. They're pissed off that they have to do another rep or another set or something. I looked forward to another 1,000 reps of sit-ups. I looked forward to another 500 pounds of leg press or squat. I looked forward to doing more and more curls until my arms fall off. Why? Because I knew that every rep that I did and every set that I did and more weights that I lifted, I get one step closer to turning that vision into reality. So I was turned on by that. I was excited. I couldn't wait to get to the gym. I remember that when I weighed 245 pounds, and Bob Raferson, the director of Stay Hungry, said to me that I'm interested in having you come in for a reading and work on your acting and all this because I'm interested in having you in a movie to star with Jeff Bridges and with Sally Fields. I was delighted about that and I was excited and I started pumping up more and more. And then he said, but I don't want you to weigh more than 210 pounds. You want me to be in the movie, but I'm weighing 245, 246. I say, I just won the Olympia, I say, which was 1974, and I was really at my biggest. And but he demanded that, and he says, look, it's very simple. On the day we start shooting, he says, I'm gonna put you on a scale, and if you don't make the 210, you're out, because I have someone else in mind. And I worked on it. I started visualizing myself very clearly as a lean athlete, because that's the only way I could lose that weight and all of a sudden get interested in running more, because up until that point I ran like 3 miles after training or before training or whatever, but now all of a sudden it was 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles, and they even ran mini marathons in order to lose the weight, and I did everything with high reps, and I was watching my diet, what I eat and all those kind of things. And but the day before, I remember we were in Birmingham, Alabama. The day before I was at the YMCA with Bob Raferson. He was swimming and I was working out and I was running. There was a track there and I was running. He says, let's step on the scale. And I stepped on the scale and I weighed 209. So it just shows to you what is possible if you visualize exactly what you want to look like. And there was no room for any kind of like, well, I can't get my act together or anything like this, because there's only a certain amount of time. But the key thing again is have the clear vision. Have the specific goal of what you want to accomplish, because then you never go to the gym and you say, the day I feel down a little bit, I don't know what it is all about, I don't know my life, I'm confused. No, I tell you that I was a perfect example of someone that was not confident at all. I mean, when I was a kid, I was just like any other kid. I had my hang-ups and problems and all this. But when I joined the weightlifting club and I won my first little trophy because I did the best clean and jerk, and then we went to another meet and I won another little trophy, I started feeling like somebody. But the bottom line is, everyone can use the same method, because I used it in politics, I used it in making money, I used it in everything that I've done in the movie business. When you have one little victory, little victories add up, and that is what gives you then ultimately confidence. Well, for me, the most important thing always is to have a deadline. So when I, for instance, had a competition, and let's say the competition was in the middle of September, and it was now beginning of summer, so there was no more time to screw around. So there was the time now to get going on a diet, to get going with the training, to not slack off at all, because there was a deadline there. The day of the competition, I had to be in the best shape possible. And I knew that if I come to the competition and I lose because I did not schedule my training the proper way, or I didn't have the right frame of mind, or I didn't give everything literally worked my butt off, I would be just so angry. So I never wanted to be in that situation. So this is why it was very important to pick that time and to say, this is when I have to be in top shape, and then I work towards that. But it's not just with the competition. I mean, it's the same in the movie business. I mean, to me, it was always a big advantage when I said, okay, my movie starts on April 1, and I have now 3 months, so I have to get really in great shape. So you pick those times. It could also be that you have no movie and you have no Mr. Olympia or no Mr. America, no Mr. Universe coming up or any of those things. But you say to yourself, the summer starts in June. I'm gonna go to the beach in June, and at that time, I want to be in great shape. So that creates an urgency that makes you really start training hard and taking it seriously. Because if you don't have a specific plan, then you wander around. I mean, you can have, as I've told you many times, the best ship or the best plane in the world, but if you don't have a specific goal where you want to go and when you want to get there, you just drift around and you never get anywhere. So this is why it is so important to create that urgency and have a specific time when you want to be in shape. Well, I mean, look, everyone has a problem with time. But the day is 24 hours and we sleep 6. Now I know there's some out there that say, whoa, I need 8. Well, I say just sleep a little faster. Because the bottom line is we have 6 hours of sleep, 24 hours are available, so you have 18 hours now available to your work, your family, your hobbies, and also to learn something new or to do something new, which could easily be that you want to learn a new language, or that you want to read as a New Year's resolution, I have to read a book every week, or you say, I'm gonna go and reshape my body. So you're gonna go and take this hour out of your schedule and say, I'm gonna train an hour every day. So this is, for most people, a huge challenge, but it is totally doable, I can tell them, because the kind of things that I did when I came to this country, I mean, I went to school, I was working in construction, I was working out my 5 hours a day, I was taking acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight, I was doing all of those things. I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. Those hours were too precious. And so there I just want to tell people, don't give me this thing, I have a difficult time with the time and I don't have time for this and I don't have that. You have time, you make the time.
No retreat, no surrender. We live and we die by this. Every man must search his own soul. People don't burn out because of what they do. People burn out because life makes them forget why they do it. Character supersedes talent every day of the week. At a certain point, don't let your actions betray your words, man.
The person that you're striving to become is stronger than any opposition, any adversity, any challenge that you will ever face. You know, I've been playing a game of football since I was 7. The second game of my junior year, fourth quarter, a little bit over 2 minutes left in the game, we were playing against Air Force. I went to make a tackle and I hit the guy, my body went completely limp. I fell to the ground and I blacked out. I almost lost my life and ultimately it left me with a paralyzed right arm and hand. My career ended. But I couldn't blame anyone. I couldn't blame the game of football. I couldn't blame the guy that I hit. I couldn't blame life. Instead, it made me question myself in such a way that I said, Ink, is this it? You know, there's one bad chapter define the book. Now you see life for what it's really worth. Like, is that it? Did you just want to make it to the NFL? That was going to be it.
Just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. My #1 competition is me. It's always you versus you.
I just had a paralyzed right arm and hand. My mentality wasn't paralyzed. My spirit wasn't paralyzed. My drive wasn't paralyzed. My dedication wasn't, my commitment wasn't, I was the same man. I just had an extra boost of energy for why I live my life. I wear this as a badge of honor. Every single day, the adversity, the opposition that life sent to break me, I wear it as a badge of honor because I understand every day of my life, I represent something. So we already know what time it is. We know they finna try to break us. We already know they think we dinner. We already know that. We know they coming at us. We know they gonna throw everything they got at us. So here's how we gonna beat it. What we working for is greater than me and you, and so we gotta press forward and we gotta conquer it.
You got to be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work, because that gains success. No coach, no trainer, no mentor, no boss can do it. You versus you.
I want to be forever proud of who I was as a man and change who I used to be. The liar, the insecure guy, the guy who can, whatever. I want to be proud. If I die now, if I die at 80, if I die at 90, 100, I want to look at myself and say, proud of myself.
We don't know how much sand we have left. The future, we don't know. The past, it's gone. Now, the only thing you can deal with is what's right here, right now. And if you look, the sand is always moving.
You're going to fail, and you're going to be in your head. You're going to be saying, I'm not good enough. And it's how you get through that. It's how you get through that on a daily basis.
You're sad and down and out, and you ask yourself, why did this have to happen? It's in this moment that you find out who you really are and what you're really about. You aren't handed anything. You earn everything, every single day.
All of us have greatness within us, but greatness is a choice. It's not our destiny. You think about this person that you now see. I did not know that he existed. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor.
Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ. See, some people listen. But when you really want to change, you must hear.
At 43, I'm still putting 100-mile weeks, still doing thousands of pull-ups, thousands of push-ups, because I'm not allowing myself to become civilized.
I always try to figure out what's the difference between good and great. Good is fit me. Great is fit now.
The worst thing that can happen to a man is become civilized. You want to be uncommon amongst uncommon people. You start putting yourself in situations that suck, you'll find yourself.
I found myself in this place, and I heard a whisper. I heard a whisper, and the whisper simply said, can you hear me now? It's this time now, so we must readjust our comfort zone. Don't look for those, nothing spectacular to come out the sky. We are the sky. When we looking to change, we must change. And the only way to change it is make sure you ain't doing the same thing every day of your life. If an alarm clock is waking you up every morning, we might find ourselves confused in 10 years. It's time to readjust our comfort zones. It's time to figure out whatever majority is doing, I'm gonna find myself doing the opposite.
None of us wake up and say, today is the day I destroy my life.
You can run into a trap and you set up a life that you didn't really want.
What we do is we kind of check out because it feels overwhelming, or we check out because we're afraid, or we check out because we start listening to self-doubt, and then we make these teeny tiny decisions all day long, and we don't even realize it. Decision to not get up on time, a decision to not eat the right thing, a decision to snap at your kids, a decision to not speak in a meeting, a decision to not look for a job, a decision to not deal with your finances, a decision to not call your parents, like whatever it is. All day long, these tiny decisions that take you so far off track. And then you wake up like I did and you look at your life and you think, how the hell did I get here?
You're alone with your thoughts. You get an idea of what your thoughts actually are.
Bang, he ran into the abutment of a bridge and his life was snuffed out. If you had asked him a half hour before how much sand he had left, he would have said at least a half a century. He didn't have a half an hour. See, the trick is we don't know how much sand we have left. This is all we've got right here, right now. We don't know how much we have left in the future, but we do know what we've got now, And I have found the people that win are the people who make up their mind they're not going to waste the minutes. They're going to be productive. They're going to make it happen every minute.
Oftentimes people make the mistake of getting stuck. And it is just a tactical mistake, just like it would be a mistake if you got stuck on a video game.
The awful truth is that life is easy. Truly living, chasing a dream and truly living is hard.
You knew that there was more in store for you, but you couldn't figure out how do you close that gap? How do you find the power that's in you? How do you discover your greatness? How do you solve these problems? It feels so overwhelming.
Taking chances and navigated their way. What did they do differently than you? What objectivity do they have that maybe you lack? What insight into their own mistakes are they willing to delve into that you're not, that you step back and you go, you know, I just don't want to look at myself that closely. But the person who's able to look at themselves the closest is going to get the more rational results. Is that we're living our lives in these very unfulfilling ways, where you're going to this office with artificial light and you're doing something you don't want to do all day long, and then you get home and you're tired. Just go hike up to the top of a mountain and look out. You know, there's a reward that you get from that is intensely, like, soul-filling.
We're all taught that life is tough. Life's a bitch. Life is hard. But it's not. It's pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy to skate by and go through life, right? We wake up every day, most of us in the world, with a roof over our heads, a big comfy bed under our butts, fridge full of food. Most of us in the world, especially here in America, never have to worry about starvation or homelessness. We have friends and family that'll help us out when those things come. Those are the things that made life dangerous 100 years ago. Now we complain if life isn't convenient. This isn't a statement on modern society. This is a statement about motivation. Life is easy. It's easy to skate by.
You think about this person that you now see. I did not know that he existed. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother. And we were adopted by Mrs. Mamie Brown. She was 46, third grade education. We ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for on Miami Beach. Kind and generous people. We wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. When I was in 5th grade, I was labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and failed again when I was in the 8th grade. And with that limited and diminished sense of self, Robert Boyd gave me a Jim Rohn speech. And because he spoke how people live their lives as a result of the story they believe about themselves, he interrupted the story that I believed about myself.
You have to be the hero of your own story, and you can do that.
90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not going to feel perfect every day. There's got to be those days you push through. And they're probably going to be more numerous than the days you don't. And so the benefit of discipline in my eyes has always been that through discipline, I get things done. Write down everything you want to do. This is what I want you to do. Write down what you would like to fix about your life. And then just, if you're 30 pounds overweight, you want to lose 30 pounds? Do it the right way. Go start eating vegetables, monitor your calories, write down what you eat, exercise every day, force yourself to do it. The brain is the general, the troops are the body, and you get up and you do it. And then you get to write it down. Our bodies, for whatever reason, most people, their associations are to avoid anything that's uncomfortable. It's so illogical, because when you look at comfort and you look at success and progress and the feelings of accomplishment and of getting past certain hurdles in terms of like how you feel about life, a lot of those are connected to discomfort. Like, discomfort is your friend. It really is. Like, discomfort and not being happy and content with certain situations in life or certain feelings in life. One of the big problems is sitting down and doing the work. And he labels it like an enemy. He calls it resistance, you know, and that you have to sit down and you have to overcome resistance, and that the pro goes to work. And it doesn't matter if you're sick, doesn't matter if you have kids, it doesn't matter what, you're a pro and you go to work. And that just, it puts it in your head that this is what I do. You have pride in that. And then when you are in front of that keyboard and you look down the count, it says put 1,000 words in, you're doing the work.
Yeah.
And out of that work, gems blossom. And it's about resistance that people feel when you know you should write, or you know you should paint, or whatever you should sculpt, whatever these things are that you pursue. And that there's this thing that comes up that tries to keep you from doing that. This resistance.
You're not a hero in your own eyes. You're not someone who you respect. You know, you're doing what you got to do to get by, but ultimately you're not respecting yourself. And I think we all have a certain amount of appreciation and respect for hero figures. You know, like we all look at like the guy who never lies and always does the right thing and fucking helps everybody out, and that's the John Wayne character. You know, that's the ultimate hero.
And he's like, this is a battle that you will fight for the rest of your life. But the key is to fight it, not to give in. Don't give in to that resistance, just to fight that resistance. And in doing so, every day you do so, you have won the battle for that day. And you will continue to fight that battle.
And when you look at your own life and you don't stack up, you're a thief, you stole money from your wife's purse, and you know you don't want to smoke cigarettes, but you fucking have to, you can't deal with the stress, you smoke, you devalue yourself. You slowly start devaluing yourself. When you look at yourself, you realize that if you were judging yourself, you would judge yourself unfavorably. So no matter who you can't pretend you're the hero of your story. You can be the hero of your own story that woke up today. You can be the hero of your own story that at 40 years of age stopped, got out of bed, and said, I'm not doing this anymore. Only by my instincts and only by my morals and my ideals and my mind, and I'm going to be dead honest with myself because I'm realizing this is not going to last forever. And I'm going to get myself in shape, and I'm going to eat healthy. And I'm going to do this because this is me now. I decide that this is me. And people have to realize that you are not your past. You are not all the times you fucked up. You're not all the times you were drunk. That's not you. What you are the person who's learned from a great deal of experience.
When you're alone with your thoughts, you get an idea of what your thoughts actually are. If you live your life just acting constantly on the momentum of other people's expectations, of you wanting to be liked by these other people, you can run into a trap, and you set up a life that you didn't really want. Your life is certainly some sort of a journey. It's certainly some sort of a journey. You're trapped in this situation where you have a mortgage, you've got credit card bills, you've got student loans you have to pay, you have a bunch of shit going on that you have to continue to feed. And all that, and especially if you have a family and you have to feed them, oh my goodness. Then you're fully locked in. You can't take any chances whatsoever. And oftentimes people make the mistake of getting stuck. And it is just a tactical mistake, just like it would be a mistake if you got stuck on a video game. Just like it would be a mistake if you followed a map incorrectly and you got stuck in the woods. your life is certainly some sort of a journey. It's certainly some sort of a journey. And we have to all be aware that when we're making journeys, we're not going to always make the right steps. And sometimes you have to back up and try again. And if you're in a position where you can't back up and try again, you've trapped yourself. Because people define themselves by the past. Instead of thinking about who they are now, instead of they still look back at a mistake they made and don't just get past that mistake, grow and learn, but dwell on it. Think it defines them. I mean, there's definitely pitfalls in life. You're going to run into them. We all are. No, you can learn and grow if you survive. Somewhere along the line, they didn't face enough of the adversity to realize that there's sometimes you just got to get up and get shit done. There's sometimes where you have to fucking pull yourself up and you have to push forward even if you want to stay in bed. Having that safety net just provided him with a way to stay in bed, kept him weak. Have an opportunity. Every time things go wrong, every time things feel terrible, you have an opportunity to learn from whatever makes you feel terrible and never allow it to happen again. Push forward. The system will set out honeypots for people to get trapped in. The system will set out the ideas of retirement, the ideas of the golden years, providing you benefits, providing you a healthy work environment. Why? Well, because they want people to work for them. They don't want people to realize their own dreams and escape. They want to set it up so that you stick around. Stick around in some sort of an unsatisfying world. It's up to you to see that video game problem, to see that issue as it comes up on the map. And no, I think this is a right turn. To see all the problems that could potentially lay in front of you and calculate your future. And then also look around at all the people that didn't do it and look at the misery that they're in and learn that you don't want to be like them. And most people get stuck in these patterns, or they define themselves as a person who doesn't follow through on their ideas, or a person who doesn't pursue their real interests and loves. You define yourself by that. Well, I guess I start things and I quit. No, you don't. No, you have started things and you quit. And it gives you a horrible sense of regret that's made you define yourself by that. You don't have to do that. If I look back on anything I've ever done, mistakes I've ever made, paths that something that I put out that I didn't quite think, man, maybe I just waited 3 months before I released that, or maybe I should have, re-edited that blog post a couple more times before I put it online, or things that I've done have driven me crazy, but yelling at someone I didn't have to yell at them for, whatever. But the most important thing is always for all people to recognize that you're not who you were a year ago. You're not who you were 5 years ago. You're not who you were last week. So you got to regulate how much you dwell on regrets of the past. You really got to be careful. It's also directly proportionate to the amount of hardships that people face in life, their ability to face hardships. And there's a lot of folks that live life on a cushy cloud of marshmallows and bullshit, and then one day something goes wrong. And then look at the people that have kind of taken chances and navigated their way. What did they do differently than you? What insight into their own mistakes are they willing to delve into that you're not, that you step back and you go, I just don't want to look at myself that closely. But the person who's able to look at themselves the closest is going to get the more rational results.
Seize the day. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Do not wait for your ship to come in, swim out to it. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you can dream it, you can do it. Wherever you go, go with all your heart. If man has done his best, what else is there? Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. If first you don't succeed, try again. Genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. I think I can. There's no substitute for hard work. Willing is not enough. We must live the life you imagine. Do or do not. There is no try. Action is the foundational key to all success. Discouragement and failure are the two of the surest stepping stones to success. The cure is not to dream less, but to dream more, to dream all the time. If you don't know where you're going, and you will wind up somewhere else. Just do it. I heard those quotes growing up all the time. When I first heard some, I memorized them. Others I wrote down. But not one of them motivated me for more than a day or two. It was a much less inspirational quote that inspired me, from a much less famous person. It was a doctor at UCLA. He said, Steve, you've got inoperable tumors all over your liver. Worst case scenario, you have 5 years to live.
And I can't control the cards I'm dealt, just how I play the hands.
If you need inspiring words, don't do it.
Today's talk is not about death. It's about life and how to live, specifically about childhood dreams and about how you can try to achieve them. Dreams will come to you. If you live properly, the dreams will come to you. And I was dreaming, always dreaming. It was an easy time to dream. When you turn on your television set and men are landing on the moon, anything is possible. And we should never lose that spirit.
Okay, bad news. I had cancer. I was dying. But I got more bad news. You are all dying too. And what are you dying to do? Don't skate forward any further in your life without answering that question. But I've basically just given you all the same diagnosis I was given. Your time is limited. And that's a real diagnosis, so what now? Okay, like most people when they're told they're dying, you're probably going through the 5 stages of grief. The first stage is denial. I'm not dying, I'm healthy. Stage 2 is anger. Urgh. Stage 3 is bargaining. Okay, we're all dying. Stage 4 is depression. Stage 5, the final stage, is acceptance. Okay, I'm not immortal. So what now? Well, let me tell you what I did when I was told I might only have 5 years to live. First of all, I got a lot of advice. A lot of friends wanted to help. A friend of my wife told me that maybe this news would give me a whole new perspective. Someone else told me that I should live every day like it was my last.
So what were my childhood dreams? Being in the National Football League. This is one of the childhood dreams I didn't achieve. All right? And it's very important to know that if you don't achieve your dreams, you can still get a lot by trying for it. There's an expression I love, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. So the most wonderful thing my parents did was they let me paint my bedroom. I said one day, I want to paint stuff on the walls. And they said, okay. So I had a rocket ship, and we lived in a ranch, so I wanted an elevator. I wasn't sure where it would go. But the great thing is that they let me do it. And they felt that letting me express my creativity was more important than the pristine nature of the walls. The brick walls that are in our way are there for a reason. They are not there to keep us out. They are there to give us a way to show how much we want it.
But what I kept coming back to when I had time by myself and no one was giving me advice was my dreams. The dreams I had put aside, the ones that I thought I had plenty of time to reach. But now that I realized I had a finite amount of time, I had to ask myself, what did I want to accomplish? I'm not a worst-case scenario guy, but if I really only had 5 years to live, what was it that I wanted to make sure happened? For me, as a comedian, it was a dream I had since I was 12 years old. It was to perform my comedy on The Late Show with David Letterman. So, let me be clear before I move on. I was a comedian already, okay? I was making a living at it. No day job, full-time comedian, making a good living in comedy clubs, colleges, corporate events around the world. That was a pretty big feat in itself. But 6 years into my comedy career, I kind of stopped chasing the Letterman dream. I was waiting for it to come to me. I was waiting for someday, not chasing it anymore. And that's a very important lesson for all of us mortals here today. Someday isn't on the calendar. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's on there about 4 times a month. No someday. But when it comes to our dreams, it's probably the busiest day of the week is someday, right? So learning that lesson, I just decided that I was going to refocus my attention back on that dream. I was going to pull out all the stops, and I gave myself a goal of getting on Letterman within 1 year. I was going to make someday happen. I started yelling my dream to anyone who would listen. Started calling in every favor I was owed. I found out everyone who worked on the show and begged them to help me get an audition. I even started asking people at comedy clubs after they'd seen me to email the show and beg Dave to book me. And guess what? I didn't make it. My ironically named deadline came and went. But I was so renewed about my dream and my newfound passion for it, I decided to give myself an extension. 1 more year to get on Letterman. Didn't happen. And then another. Nope. Sounds like bad news, right? Well, it was. I would have loved to get on the show in that first year, but something great happened over those years. Those 3 years weren't spent dying. They were spent living. Living a dream. And let me tell you, there is something, if you've ever chased a dream, you know that it lights a fire in your heart. That whether you reach it or not, it warms everyone around you and everything around you. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to keep going. Because that dream is so important. You can't wait for someday to happen. You need to make things go out. Wouldn't the world be a better place if we're all inspired? If the world wasn't full of uninspired people? I know I felt better when I was inspired. But why do people stop chasing their dreams? I don't think people choose to be uninspired. Why do you think people stop chasing their dreams? Everyone wants to achieve them. Why do people leave them behind? That was a tough question to answer. I wanted to give her an honest answer, not some cliche response or a motivational line. So I thought about it for a long time. I knew that cancer had motivated me to pick my dream up again, but why did I stop chasing it in the first place? Why does anyone stop? Well, when the answer came to me, it was hard to swallow, let alone spit out and say aloud, but I told her. We're all taught that life is tough. Life's a bitch. Life is hard. But it's not. It's pretty easy, right? It's pretty easy to skate by and go through life, right? We wake up every day, most of us in the world, with a roof over our heads, a big comfy bed under our butts, a fridge full of food. Most of us in the world, especially here in America, never have to worry about starvation or homelessness. We have friends and family that'll help us out when those things come. Those are the things that made life dangerous 100 years ago. Now we complain if life isn't convenient. This isn't a statement on modern society. This is a statement about motivation. Life is easy. It's easy to skate by. It's pretty easy to grow up, put your dreams aside, leave your passions behind, Take a job that you don't even really mind. Raise some kids who will most likely be inspired to do the exact same thing. Go from point A to point B to point C until you end up at point Z, where you pass away and there's a line of people waiting to get up and tell everyone else who knew you what a good life you had. Nothing bad about that. Nothing wrong with that. But nothing great about it. Nothing inspiring about that. It's easy to look at a dream as something way off in the distance, something that might or might not be accomplished, a thing, an object, a goal, a thought that runs through our mind every now and then, a noun. But dream is also a verb. It has to be lived, it has to be done, it has to be furthered, it has to be acted upon, it needs to be chased. It's not just an idea or a result. To dream encompasses every step that it takes to get there. So I'm going to give you all a challenge here. Figure out the answer to that question. What are you dying to do? Don't skate forward any further in your life without answering that question. But if you don't know the answer, don't go to sleep tonight without answering that question. Don't wait till someday to answer that question. There's nothing more important in your life than figuring that out. When you do figure it out, then when you go to sleep, you sleep like a kid again. Because then you'll be going to sleep not to dream, but with a dream. And waking up with one. Thank you. I told you about my dream. I didn't reach my Letterman dream by my deadline or my extended deadline. Nope. It took me 5 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Steve Mazan.
5 years of living. Five years of living for that dream. And I was very lucky. My tumors during that time, they didn't grow. I stayed healthy. But I had that wake-up call, and I'm giving you all the same wake-up call. We're all dying. But if you're not chasing your dream, you're already dead.
I don't think complaining and whining really solves the problem. This is Jackie Robinson, first black major leaguer, had it in his contract not to complain if people spit on him. Now, I don't care if you're Jackie Robinson or if you're a guy like me who's only got a couple of months to live. You can choose to take your finite time and energy and effort, and you can spend it complaining, or you can spend it playing the game hard, which is probably going to be more helpful to you in the long run. The talk isn't just about how to achieve your childhood dreams. It's much broader than that. It's about how to live your life. Because if you lead your life the right way, the karma will take care of itself. That we all have people that we don't like, that have done things we don't like, and what I have found is no one is pure evil. If you wait long enough, they will show you their good side. You can't make them do it in a hurry, but you can be patient.
He said, when life can no longer threaten you with death, so what else is there? What else is there? And the majority of the fears that we have are not life or death fears. They're not those kind of fears. If you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. I couldn't move, I couldn't think about what am I going to do to get out of this situation because I was so concerned about what happened and what he did to me and how bad it was. I was so stuck in that I couldn't even focus on what I should have done. So what's the worst thing that they can do to you? Kill you. And he just decided, hey, this is what I came here to do. I know that there's some risk involved, and I'm going to do it, come what may.
He said, I'm not going to be afraid anymore.
Feeling sorry for myself and angry, and none of that was taking me anywhere. So pretty soon, I learned through effort, made a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. I had to let it go. I had to forgive it. Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go and move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do now, Les?
This is the instinct that says, you've had enough. This is the instinct that says, you've given it your best shot. You can stand down. You can back off. You can take a knee. This is the instinct that says, you can rest now. Do not listen to that instinct. Do not listen. That instinct is a liar and wants to bring you down. That's the instinct that's a defense mechanism. It wants to give you an out, a place to run to.
A lot of people never get to where they want to be because they'll never stop complaining about where they're at. I must say it again. A lot of people will never get to where they want to be because they will never stop complaining about where they're at. The word complain means to remain or to stay overnight. So if you want to stay right where you're at, just keep complaining about it, and I can pretty much guarantee you that you'll still be there.
And they'll tell you, you did the best you could. No, they'll say the deck was stacked against you. And they'll say it's not your fault. And they'll tell you it's okay to stop. It's okay to settle. It's okay to give up. And that is the instinct you need to fight. You need to push back, to smash into the ground. Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up based on instinct. If you are forced to stand down, to retreat, so that you can rebuild and reattack, so be it. But make that decision based on logic, not on the instinct of surrender and defeat. Get up. Go. Fight on.
You know my history. I've been sort of on all sides of my journey. You know, I didn't have success very early. And I went through some very dark times. And you know what I mean? One thing I kept doing is, you know, inspiring myself, looking for inspiration and growing. And it hasn't stopped, and I want to keep doing that. And I also want to inspire others. You know, there are millions of me sitting at home right now, and they don't know it. And it's just good to be able to get this sort of platform to sort of say, come on, man, go for it. So listen, man, no street.
Yes. I don't do things for money, and I've been broke most of my life. So because of that, I can't sort of suddenly go, I need to do a job just to get some cash, you know what I mean? I know that's a lot of times it is people's motivations because people need to eat, but in my position, I've been poor most of my life, so now I think my imagination has always kept me going, you know what I mean? You know, just imagine myself collecting awards. Just imagine myself, you know what I mean, getting big parts. Imagine myself working with the greatest actors. My imagination was the one, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you not overthink it, but you just kind of like, yeah, man, I see myself driving that car one day, and I get that. Actually, if I can see myself doing it, I could probably do it. So you can't bottle that up and sell it to someone. You either can do it or you can't. But everybody can imagine themselves, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's important not to give yourself boundaries, which we can do quite easily, okay? People talk about aiming for the skies. Sometimes even aiming for the skies is intimidating. Just don't give yourself boundaries. Your sky and my sky might be different, you know what I mean? But neither of us will touch the sky if we give ourselves boundaries, you know what I mean? Whatever your sky is, whatever your biggest dream is, I might have already touched that, you know? So in other words, what sky? Where does the sky end? I'd rather people go, you know what, I'm not going to restrict myself to going, I can only do this, or I can only do that, or I have to do it this way, or I have to do it that way.
The first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A.
When I was 16, contemplating being an actor, I was in sound systems, DJing. You know what I mean? And, you know, it was like that or this. So I always go back to DJing. I always have a studio, I always have turntables, always. Been doing it a long time, you know what I mean? And there was a drive to be famous, to be, you know, that pinnacle, to be that guy. And it's not, my ambition isn't that as much. You know what I mean? Good work, keep working. So it'd be hard for me to sort of like suddenly be like, you know, oh, I'm lifted up by this wonderful life that I have. I love it, but you know, my feet are on the ground, you know, it's work, it's a job. Achievement is inspirational to me, you know, people doing it. Someone that on Monday didn't know how to do this and by Friday can do it. That is an inspiration to me. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to fall over, make a mistake. That oftentimes cripples people on the onset of getting into anything. The first time I ever picked up the DJ decks was horrible now, but I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of that feeling. It actually propels me and works quite the opposite. But I really loved to do it. So I just said, I want to do what I love, you know what I mean? Like I can do 18, 22 hours a day easily. It's definitely one of those components to me as a human being, my makeup, my genetics, that allows me to actually keep moving. I'm a veteran at being able to look at an opportunity and go, is that going to take me further or not? You know, some people don't have that. You won't. It's something you develop. You know, that's why most times out of 10, any head of a company has been doing it for a long time, because they inherently can make a decision in the blink of an eye. But you have to learn that. The other thing that's important, I think, is to keep your head down. You know, keep your head down. Like when I swim, I've got 25 laps, guaranteed if I look up and start counting those laps, I'm petered out by 15. If I put my head down and keep working away and work at technique, work at internal rhythm, work at, I hit that length, I don't even know what length I'm on. Guarantee you I'll look up and it'll be 20 and 2 more, 3 more to go. And that's a very simple device, but I think people find themselves incrementally checking how far they've got. And that, you know, when you compare it to anybody else or whatever, it's just it's a recipe for disaster. Just keep banging on, you know? Mountain climbers will probably tell you the same thing, you know, there's no point looking. The difference between climbing 100 feet and climbing 500 feet is a point of view. You won't know you're at the top until you get there, pal. And that's what you need to remember. You know, just get in there. Just don't look down. The more I grow, you know, I'm 43 at this point, you know, considered a middle-aged man, and happiness is without a doubt the best thing that I strive for. Health and happiness, kid you not. I couldn't, any of it means nothing if I'm not happy about it. My breakthrough was actually deciding I wanted to be an actor and go into a drama college. Not a drama college, I did a performing arts course. It changed my life. It turned my dreams into a reality. It gave me an actual, tangible target to go, oh, actually, I could do this. That was my breakthrough, because it was a breakthrough of my mind. That was my biggest breakthrough. Of course, there have been numerous breakthroughs over my career and my life, which I'm all proud of, but none so much as that realization that I want to be an actor. To thrive in whatever you do, please understand your terrain. Know what your target is. Don't guess it. Be as clued up as the next man, because that's your petrol. That's your fuel to get you moving. If you don't know where you're going, what your targets are, you're never going to get there, period. Work hard, sleep less.